It's not easy to do. Obviously, you're deep into your schedule on Thanksgiving Day. They will play the third of 3 games on Thanksgiving Day against a reeling Ravens squad. Again, 4th team with an unbeaten record. They're 10-0, heading into their Thanksgiving clash with their arch rival, the Baltimore Ravens. Though the Ravens have a little bit of a COVID issue, Keyshawn. At the moment, it looks like Mark Ingram and J.K. Dobbins have tested positive. They won't be available on a short week when they take on Pittsburgh. Gus Edwards looks like he'll be in there starting. Defensive tackle Brandon Williams, who missed the game Sunday along with Calais Campbell, it looks like Williams is being placed on the team's reserve COVID-19 list. I'm going to just give you a piece of the statement that the Ravens released with regards to their latest coronavirus outbreak. Quote, "We started the process of contact tracing, and during this time, the Under Armour Performance Center will be closed with all team activities conducted virtually. We will continue to work closely with and follow guidance from the NFL team doctors and our medical trainers. The game remains on for now, but it's a short week. It's a big spot. You're reeling, your rival's undefeated, and now we've got to make this thing happen virtually before we physically see them on Thursday. It's just 2020 again."
No, it is, and it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough for Baltimore when you both your backs, your main lead guys, are not there to help you try and tackle a task that's going to be tall on Thursday night. It's going to be tough, and I think when you look at it, it was going to be tough with those guys in the lineup because Pittsburgh is a hell of a football team. They know how to win. They know how to play, and Mike Tomlin knows how to coach. Ben Roethlisberger's been back in the saddle. This is the reason that they are undefeated. They've discovered a young receiver in Chase Claypool. Juju Smith is there. I mean, it's just a lot. That defense, it's just a lot that they have to overcome. And going up, and to make matters even worse, you're going into Pittsburgh to one of your rivals, one of your arch enemies. You just saw them a couple weeks ago, and you wind up losing that football game. So imagine what the Pittsburgh Steelers feel like. They don't want you to be the team that comes in to their house and derail their opportunity and their chances to have the number 1 overall seed in the AFC.
No question about it. Jay, what do you think here? Because as you look at it, at this particular point, as crazy as it is to think about, and this is something Mike Tannenbaum, our front office insider, brought up on the program yesterday, and you still have to wrap your head around it. Right now, even though we've got an extra spot available in the AFC, the top 7 teams are going to make the playoffs this year as the playoff format has changed for the first time in 30 years. Right now, Jay, believe it or not, at 6-4, Lamar and the Ravens are actually on the outside looking in. Right now, they occupy the 8th spot. They lose Thursday, they'll be a 6-5 football team. What's on the line here for Baltimore?
Well, Zubin, I think they are going to lose when they play on Thanksgiving Day. And look, this is an opportunity for Lamar Jackson to do what everybody's been asking him to do from the beginning of the season. He has to throw the ball now. You have to. There's no other choice. And I know there's something that, we've been digging into with him. Can he hit people outside the numbers? Can he make marginal players better? And I know we get into the conversation about, well, who is he throwing the ball to? He has no targets to work with. Well, there's no other choice. He has to be the guy. If we're talking about paying him $100+ million, I know you won't, Key, but the Baltimore Ravens probably will. This is the time to prove to the Ravens and to himself that he could be the guy to keep this team in the hunt of making the playoffs. I don't see it happening, unfortunately, and I think the narrative is going to change about Lamar Jackson after Thursday night again.
Well, he's going out there without a full cast of his weapons. They're a run-first team, and when you don't have Dobbins in and you don't have Ingram in, it's going to, your offense is going to stall to a degree. He's a young man with a lot of pressure, Zubin, on him now. I mean, a huge amount of pressure to be able to try and engineer a victory against Pittsburgh, who's trying to stay alive. Well, not necessarily stay alive, but trying to hold on to the number 1 seed with Kansas City right behind them with 1 loss.
Now you look at the situation, too, with Baltimore, and you think to yourself, look, we're in a logjam. We're at 6-4. We're not playing well. We're paying Pittsburgh. All of it just sort of comes to a head because from what you guys have both said, you look at what could have been. And we always talk about windows in sports, and I understand Lamar is a young guy. Ben's near the end. Lamar's still closer to ascending. But it wasn't that long ago that this team was 14-2, had won 12 in a row, and was sailing. And they have just not paid off any of that to this point when it matters. You guys have always said it's about what you do in the postseason when it matters. To this point, to your point, Lamar's very young, hasn't won a playoff game. That doesn't bother Key. It's something that sort of bothers me a little bit. But they seem to have all of the momentum.
He's been in the league 2.5 years, man.
But he was the quarterback of a 14-2 team with home field advantage throughout the playoffs.
But he's only been in the league 2.5 years. Only. I mean, like, winning a play is. We can go through a litany, a long list.
I feel like I have more of the problem with him because it's all the excuses all the time, Key.
Well, yeah, maybe excuses, but Zubin's talking about the playoffs. And when you think about it, he's took over for Joe Flacco. He took over in the middle of the season and led him to the playoffs. Last year it's just crazy. It was ridiculous. They go 14-2, like you said. They lose
12 in a row.
And win 12 in a row, they lose. That's only 2 playoff appearances. But you make it sound as though he's been in the league 9 years and he's lost 9 consecutive playoff games.
No, I'm not saying he's Andy Dalton. I'm just saying that we're expecting so much out of Tua and Herbert and Burrow. We're going to talk about Burrow here coming up at the bottom of the hour. The bad news confirmed. When we're putting all these guys, Key, on such a quick trajectory for success, I just feel like if you've been in the league a couple of years, if we're going to say
it's not reality, though.
Five guys.
I love you to death, Zubin, and I'll never let you cross that line like people on Twitter. That's not reality. It's just not reality. It took Peyton Manning forever in a day, and I could go on the long list of quarterbacks.
Aikman was 1 in 15.
A long list of them. But it's going to happen at some point. Because if it doesn't happen, then he's not going to be the quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens.
JD, all right, straight talk wireless, no contract, no compromise. All right, on the way, we haven't had a large sample size from Lamar Jackson. We've had an even shorter sample size.
There you go. Now I like you even more.
From Joe Burrow. But Key is already sold on Burrow despite yesterday's devastating injury news. His rationale on the way after Key has this from DraftKings.
To celebrate the start of the most joyous time of the year, DraftKings, the leader in one-day fantasy sports, is giving all users a shot at their $25 million Thanksgiving giveaway this Thursday. Download the DraftKings app now and use code KJZ for a limited time. All users can get a share of $25 million in prizes this week. That's code KJZ.